Ordering used games from GameStop online can be quite the gamble. If you're lucky, you might hit the jackpot and get games that are complete with the original case and manual. Other times, it may be a total bust, where all you get is a generic case or a disc that is in less than ideal condition. Well, I took the gamble again, and this time, I went all in. Let's find out what's inside. This is GameStop Jackpot or Bust. Quick note from future me. I just realized that I left the grid marks on for this entire video. Yeah, not my finest moment. But we're rolling with it because I can't go back and re-record the video now because all the packages are opened. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but let's get back to the video. Welcome back to the channel and to another episode of GameStop Jackpot or Bust. In this video series, we open packages of games that I ordered from GameStop online to see what condition the games arrive in. If you've ever ordered games from GameStop online before, you know it's a total crapshoot on what it is that you'll actually receive. Because of that, I don't actually advise that you order games from GameStop online, especially retro games, because you never know if those games are going to come with their original case or manual, or what condition those games might arrive in. However, I did go ahead and order all of these games from GameStop online for two reasons. The first reason is they were actually having a buy two, get one free sale earlier in the year, and I bought all of these games during that sale. So if any of the games that I open aren't in great condition, hopefully it's not all of them, because I only paid for 2/3 of the games. The other reason I make these videos is because I feel like it could provide valuable information on what you could expect if you were to order used games from GameStop online. And as I open these games, I'm going to put them into one of two piles. If I feel like the game is complete, I'm going to put that into the jackpot pile. And if the game isn't complete, or it arrives in pretty poor condition, I'm going to put that into the bust column. And at the end of the video, we're going to see how many games ended up in the jackpot column and how many games ended up in the bust column. And with that out of the way, let's get started and open up the first package. So here we go with the first package. I'll make sure I don't cut the game here. Oh, this is packaged. Double packaged. Let's try to get this one open. The game is right on the edge of the case, so I don't want to cut the game. There we go. And we have... our first bust. Not a good start. Let's see what's inside. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks for the PS2. This is probably the worst condition that you could ever expect a game to arrive in. I guess the only way they can make it worse is if the disc is in bad shape. The disc looks okay from what I could tell. Yeah, not too bad. So at least the disc is okay, but no manual, no case. This is terrible. This is definitely going into the bust column. That's unfortunate. Off to a bad start here. Hopefully this doesn't continue. Last time we did one of these videos, we had really good success. I'm hoping that continues, but not off to a great start. On to the next game. All right, next game, next package. We have the Amazing Spider-Man for the PS4. I actually got a copy of this game in a haul that I received in a box of games, and it actually only came with the case. The game actually wasn't in there, so this is one of the reasons that I ordered it. I figured even if this did not come with the original case, at least I could get the disc and complete the copy that I had. So it's good to see that the case is here. Let's go ahead and open it up. And there it is, the game. I'll be able to complete the game. I guess I'll just see what case is in better condition and just keep that case. Not sure what I'll do with the other case, but I'm assuming this didn't come with a manual. It is a PS4 game. Most PS4 games didn't come with a manual. This looks complete. Let's look at the condition of the package. Package is a little worn down here at the bottom. Kind of see there. Not too bad. Pretty good. The actual plastic is pretty scuffed up here, but I don't think that penetrated the case at all. So this is definitely a jackpot. We'll put this in the jackpot column. So we've got 2 games open so far. Oh, the case actually looks busted. May not close. Let's see here. Yeah, this case. Oh, I have replacement cases. That's not a big deal. We'll go ahead and we'll set that there. Definitely the jackpot column. So 1 for the jackpot, 1 for the bust column. So 50-50. Hopefully we continue getting games into that jackpot column. On to the next game. This package feels pretty thick. There's definitely at least 2 or 3 games in here. Not sure how many. Let's go ahead and let's open this one up. Feels like there are 3 games in this package. So we will open the first game. And that is Batman: The Enemy Within. This is one of the Telltale games. I'm really getting into the Telltale games lately. I'm starting to really love these types of games, these story-driven games where you make choices that influence the story. I'm really happy to have this. I heard this was pretty good. I'm excited to play through this one. Let's check the condition. no manual. I'm going to assume anything from the PS4 and on doesn't have a manual. The disc looks good as well, so nothing wrong with the disc. Appears to be in pretty good condition. We will go ahead and put this into the complete column. I'm expecting the PS4 era and up to be complete. You know, like I said, they don't have manuals for most of those games, so hopefully as long as I have the case and the game's in okay condition, I will call that complete. I'm definitely expecting, or at least hoping, that some of the more modern systems will arrive complete. Definitely gets a little sketchy with some of the older systems. I have a good mix of retro games and modern games with these packages, so we'll get a pretty good idea of what it looks like across some of the older titles versus the newer games, and see what you can expect in regards to the condition across retro games and the current system. So let's continue on here with the next game from that package. And that is, all right, the other game from the Batman Telltale series. I needed both of these. I didn't have either of them. Like I said, it's a PS4 game. Probably not going to be a manual. No manual. This disc is in terrible condition. I don't know if you could see all of this. Just like some scuffing. Like this has just been scratched really bad on the front of the disc. Doesn't give me hope for the back of it. Well, fortunately, the back actually looks like it's in pretty good shape. Looks, there's some smudges there. Those will come off. Those just look like fingerprints. Wow, yeah, the top of this is in rough shape. You can see all that right there. So even the front of this case is kind of dirty, kind of grimy. You've got all this over here, even down here. Definitely got to call this complete. The fact that the case is dirty isn't going to change that. Not too happy with the way that this actual disc looks, but the underside of the disc looks okay. Hopefully it runs fine. There's no issues, but this is definitely going in the complete column. So far we have 3 games complete. 1 game that is not complete, that 1 game being the PS2 game. Like I said, those older systems, it is hard to get games complete when you order them from GameStop. On to the next game here. Oh, come on. Rare replay for the Xbox One. This is one that I was really hoping would be complete. It's not an old game. It's an Xbox One game. We've got this generic case here, this generic GameStop case for Xbox One games. I doubt there's a manual. Let's see. Yeah, no manual. It is the disc. That's unfortunate. I don't know how you have like Xbox One games, PS4 games, and up just without the case. Doesn't make sense to me. I guess people just throw their cases away and hold on to the disc, maybe put them in booklets or whatever, but still. Another one for the bust column. So that is 3 for the jackpot column and 2 for the bust column. Would not expect an Xbox One game to come like that, but it's what you get from GameStop, and that's why it's a gamble. On to the next package. What we have here is 1 game. Feels like a Switch game. It's pretty small. No, it is a... Okay, so I did order 1 Dreamcast game, Phantasy Star Online. I didn't know how this would arrive. I did order a Dreamcast game in the last Jackpot or Bust video that I did. That game was just a disc only. This game here looks like it is... well, the case is broken, so that's great. Does come with the manual and the original case. This manual is in terrible shape, though. It's severely water damaged. It's got warping and it's got discoloration all over it. Outside of being torn, this is one of the worst condition manuals I've ever seen. It's so water damaged, it's almost like it's like crunchy. Like you can hear it. It's hard. This is terrible. Hopefully the disc is okay. Let's take a look at the disc. The disc looks all right. No scratches. This is one of those ones where, yes, it's complete, but the condition of this manual, it's so bad that I am putting this in a bust. This is not something as a collector that I'd want to add to my collection in this shape. So this is definitely going into the bust column. All right, Phantasy Star Online going into the bust column. So we have 3 games in the jackpot column, 3 games in the bust column. We are at a 50-50 split so far across the first 6 games. Let's go ahead. Let's open the next package and see what's inside. All right, next package here we have... Feels like just 1 game inside of this package. Let's open it up. Oh, come on. Bouncer on the PS2. I don't even know what kind of case this is. This isn't the normal GameStop generic cases that they would normally put on their games. This just looks like someone printed this off a computer. I'm sure there's not going to be a manual here. Yeah, no manual. It's not even the right game. Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Not even the right game. Wow. I have no idea if this is a good game or not. I don't know much about the Dragon Ball series or the Dragon Ball games. This disc is in really rough shape too. It is scratched all over the place. I mean, you could see that on camera. That's just terrible. I have to say this is probably the worst game that I've ever received from GameStop. Not only is it not their typical generic case, not only is there no manual, it's the wrong game, and the wrong game is so scratched up. Probably the worst condition game that I've ever received from GameStop in regards to the disc. This takes the cake for the worst game that I've ever received from GameStop. So it's supposed to be Bouncer 2, Dragon Ball Z. That is in the bust column, without a doubt. 4 games in the bust column, 3 games in the jackpot column. This is not going well so far. This is way worse than the last video that I did. In the last video, most of those were jackpot games and only a few bust. Looks like we're heading in the opposite direction in this video. So on to the next game. All right, this package definitely has more than one game. On to the first game here. Ah, man, another game without the original case. Oh, I guess it's got part of the original case. So what's going on here? So Chrono Cross on the PlayStation. It's got the manual, okay, and another broken jewel case. So apparently that's becoming a trend. It doesn't have the back insert. It doesn't appear. Yeah, it doesn't have the back insert, so it is not complete. The instruction manual here for this one also appears to be pretty water damaged. I don't know what is going on. How do these games get wet like this? I can't even get it out of the jewel case. It's not as bad as Phantasy Star Online, the Dreamcast one, but there's definitely some warping, definitely some kind of water damage here. This is terrible. Manual's a little dirty here. I don't know if that's discoloration from the water damage as well, but man, some of these games that I'm getting, I feel like I should have gloves on. It's pretty nasty. Okay, so let's check the condition of the disc. Disc looks okay. Nothing that I can see that looks too bad. So the disc looks all right. This is definitely going into the bus column. It's not complete. The instruction manual is water damaged as well. This is just terrible. You know, I at least get to make the content for YouTube for these videos with what I'm ordering and what I'm receiving, but you know, if I was just a regular consumer trying to buy this stuff from GameStop's website, I would be so disappointed in what they send me. I don't know how they can actually send some of this out to customers in good faith and goodwill. It's just terrible, the condition of some of these things. You think you're ordering something and you just get something that is completely different than what you would expect. The condition of some of these is just so poor. And it's not just that it's not complete. What they do send you is water damage, gross, or grimy. So this is terrible. All right, so we're at 5 games in the bust column, 3 games in the jackpot column. Let's go ahead, open the next game in this package. There is one more game in here. It is Blinks on the original Xbox. We have the original case here, so off to a good start. Case is not in the best shape. You've got some damage to the bottom of the insert here. Same thing on the front, but it is the original insert for the case. Let's open it up. There's a manual as well. This is pretty surprising for an Xbox game. So let's check the condition of the disc. Make sure the disc is good. The disc looks okay. It's got some kind of smudging on here that I hope will wipe off. Yeah, it looks like that stuff will wipe off. So the disc is okay. Let's check the condition of the manual. The manual feels all right. It's a little bent down here, but you know, it's not too bad. Doesn't feel water damage. You know, all in all, considering the age of this game, I'll consider these minor defects in the insert in the manual not a big deal. This is definitely a jackpot. Let's just make sure here from the side. Yep, everything looks good there. This is definitely going in the jackpot column. Pretty cool to get a complete Xbox game. That was one that I was definitely a little unsure if it would arrive complete or not, but it did in fact come complete. Let's go on to the next package. There are a number of games in this package as well. First game from this package is the Devil May Cry HD Collection on the PS4. So we're getting pretty good luck with the PS4 games. Each one of those that we've opened so far do appear to be complete. You know, like I said, there's probably not a manual in here as well. Let's check the condition of the disc. Disc looks okay. Nothing that I can see. So this is in great shape. This is good. This is definitely a jackpot. I played the first Devil May Cry game on the PlayStation 2 originally when it came out. I never played Devil May Cry 2 or Devil May Cry 3. They've always been games on my backlog that I want to play at some point, and this will definitely be the way that I check those games out. So pretty glad to have this complete. It's in really nice shape. The insert's in really good condition. No damage at all. This is great. So another one for the jackpot column. That puts us at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 games for the jackpot column. Still 6 games in the bust column. On to the next game from this package. Dante's Inferno for the PS3. So this looks to be in pretty good shape as well. Well, there's some tearing on the case here. I don't know if that made it all the way into the insert. So we'll see. You know, other than that, the insert looks okay. Feels like there might be a manual in here. Let's open it up and take a look. Yep, it is. The manual looks to be in pretty good shape. No water damage or anything that I can tell so far. And it's got the other inserts with it as well, so that's pretty cool. Good to see that. Let's check the condition of the disc. Disc is in pretty poor shape. There's a lot of scratching. Some of those are smudges, but there's a lot of scratches on this disc. They don't look too deep. They look somewhat surface level, so hopefully the game is playable and there are no major issues there. I do want to check this insert and see if the tearing on the case actually... Okay, it's just on the case. And right there, it looks okay. Yeah, this is outside of the scratches on the disc, I feel like that won't be a major issue. Those do look like they're surface level scratches, so I expect the game to be fully playable without any issues. So we will go ahead and we will add Dante's Inferno on the PS3 to the jackpot column. So that puts us at 6 games in the jackpot column and 6 games in the bust column. Is it 6 games in the bust column? Maybe I counted wrong. 1, 2, 3, 5 games. 5 games in the bust column. Okay, so we're at 6 games in the jackpot column and 5 games in the bust column. So our luck's turning around a little bit. Let's hope we continue to add games to the jackpot column so that we have more games there as opposed to the bust column. So we'll go on to the next game in this package. There is one more game inside here. That game is The Amazing Spider-Man on the PS3. The case looks good. The insert looks to be in really good shape. I don't know if there's a manual in here. It feels kind of light. We'll see. It is in there. Okay, cool. The manual's here. Manual's in really good shape as well. Really pleased so far with the condition of this game. Let's check the disc. Disc looks pretty good. A little bit of smudging. No major scratches that I could see here. So this is in really good shape. Definitely, this is a complete copy of this game. In nice shape. This game was $24.99. Not too expensive, but it wasn't one of the cheaper games that I ordered, so happy to see this complete. Another one for the jackpot column. So that puts us up to 7 games in the jackpot column and 5 games in the bust column. Our luck's really turning around here. Let's hope it continues to stay this way. I was a little nervous with how it was starting out with all those games going into the bust column, but let's go on to the next package. On to the next package, and that is Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus for the PlayStation 3. Again, this case, this insert looks really good. I don't see anything wrong from first observation. Looks clean. Let's open it up, see if it has a manual. It does have the manual, the insert here. I suppose this is probably all that came with this game. Not really sure. A lot of the PS3 games do have manuals. Not a manual, but this feels like it's pretty complete. I can't imagine that you would lose the manual but still have these inserts. This is probably how this game arrived, I would assume. Let's check the condition of the disc. Disc looks okay. Some light surface scratches, not too bad. Some smudging on there, but from what I could tell, the disc looks pretty good. So this is definitely another one for the jackpot column. So we're on a roll here. We started off pretty poor, but it's definitely turned around. That puts us up to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. 8 games in the jackpot column and still just sitting at 5 games in the bust column. So our luck's definitely turned around. Let's hope we can finish this video strong and keep adding games to that jackpot column. All right, we've got 2 more packages here. So on to the next package. There are 2 games in here, and the first game is Metroid Prime 4 for the Nintendo Switch 2. I've actually never played any of the Metroid Prime games. I do have Metroid Prime Remastered. I do want to play through that and then play through the rest of the Metroid Prime games. So I needed this game, wanted to take advantage of that buy 2 get 1 free sale on some of the more expensive games, and I felt it's pretty safe with Nintendo Switch 2 games to be complete, which obviously it is. This is going to come with a manual here, but here you go. You got the game here. The cartridge looks to be in really good shape. Nintendo Switch game, Nintendo Switch 2 games are, for the most part, pretty safe, especially Nintendo Switch 2 with these being so new for those to arrive in complete condition, or at least with its original case. So definitely going into the jackpot column. So the trend continues. I do believe there's one more game in here. There is. And that game is, well, I guess I misspoke. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. Definitely spoke too early on this one. Nintendo Switch game here. That's unfortunate. I thought we'd have pretty good odds with the Nintendo Switch, with the Nintendo Switch 2 games, that they'd be complete, but apparently that's not the case. So Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, definitely going into the bust column. I don't understand how people in this day and age just don't keep their cases. Maybe it's different for me because I'm a collector, but that doesn't make sense to me. But another one for the bust column. So that's 6 in the bust column and 9 in the jackpot column. All right, we're on to the last package. So let's go ahead and open that up. There's definitely a number of games in here. I think there's probably 3 different games in this package. So let's open the first game. the Ratchet and Clank collection on the PS3. So the cover art, the insert appears to be in pretty good condition. Not sure if there's a manual inside here. Let's take a look. No manual. This is a tough one. I'm not sure if this game actually came with a manual or not. I'll have to look that one up. The disc looks to be pretty good. There's some smudges on there, but other than that, no major scratching that I could see. I don't know. Let's see if this game came with a manual. I looked it up, and it looks like the game actually does not come with a manual. So I would say that this is definitely complete. It's in really good shape. So another one for the jackpot column. On to the next game in this package. And that is the Killzone Trilogy on the PlayStation 3. This also looks to be in really good shape. The cover art, the insert, doesn't look like there's any damage to it. This was definitely one of the more expensive games that I ordered there at $29.99, so glad to see at least the cover art's here. Let's see if it comes with a manual. All right, it does come with the insert. I assume because this is a collection of games that there probably won't be a manual. This is probably all that you get. That looks complete there. Let's go ahead and check. Ooh, this is multiple disc. Wow, okay, so 2 discs for this PS3 game. I guess the Killzone games are probably quite large, and with all 3 of them being on here, couldn't fit all that content onto 1 disc. Let's go ahead and check the condition of the disc. Pretty good here. No scratches that I could see for the most part. A little bit of surface ones, but nothing crazy. Some stuff that looks like it'll probably smudge off. It does look like that might have been resurfaced, and those might be marks from a resurfacer, but I feel like this should play fine, so that's probably okay. Let's check the other disc here. Same thing with this disc. Maybe a little bit of scratching right there, you see. Not too bad though, and again, some smudging, so that should clear right off. Pretty good, pretty happy with the condition of this game, the Killzone Trilogy. So another one for the jackpot column. Looks like we're really turning it around here at the end of the video. Let's go ahead and open the last game in this package. And that is Gears of War Reloaded for the PS5. So with this being a PS5 game, it looks to be in like perfect shape. Nothing wrong with it so far, at least that I could see from the outside. Sure, there's not going to be a manual being a PS5 game. Yep, no manual. And the condition of the game, it looks really good. With this being a pretty new game, I would expect that. So going into the jackpot column, we really turned it around there at the end of this video. We started off pretty poor with most of the games we were opening going into that bust column, but it looks like we got most of those out of the way early and finished strong with a bunch of games in the jackpot column. Let's go ahead. I'll recap and show each of the games that I got. We'll start here with the jackpot column, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the PS4, Batman The Enemy Within on the PS4, Batman The Telltale Series on the PS4, Blink's Time Sweeper on the Xbox, Devil May Cry Trilogy on the PS4, Dante's Inferno on the PS3, The Amazing Spider-Man on the PS3, Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus on the PS3, Metroid Prime 4 for the Nintendo Switch 2, the Ratchet & Clank Collection on the PS3, the Killzone Trilogy on the PS3, and Gears of War Reloaded on the PS5. All right, and onto the games into the bust column. We have Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks for the PS2, Rare Replay on Xbox One, Phantasy Star Online for the Dreamcast with one of the worst condition manuals I've ever seen. What was supposed to be the bouncer on the PS2 was actually Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Not even the right game. Chrono Cross with the original manual that missing the back insert. Manual's in terrible condition for this game. And Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch in a generic case. All right, well, that's it. We didn't do too bad. We got 18 games in total. 12 of those games were in the jackpot column. 6 of those games were in the bust column. So about 2/3 of those games actually ended up being what I would call jackpot games. So like I said, I only paid for 2/3 of these games because the buy 2, get 1 free sale that they had going on. So with 2/3 of the games being complete, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, well, that's all for this episode. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one.